runners, please make sure to keep your hands, arms, legs, and feet inside the safari, and please remain seated throughout the entire safari. You receive a no standing safari today. If you look above you, you'll see an animal spotting guide. You see an animal that I happen to not see. You try to name it, and I'll try to name a few facts about it, but I give you absolutely zero guarantees. Now, our first stop here on the safari today is the Little Literary Forest, which is home to some safari guides' favorite animal is. Always ask Captain your favorite animal. I think that first one that you see seems like kind of a cop-out if you ask me. They've never given me a straight answer, but I hope I find out soon. Till then, if we all look over to our right, we can see my personal favorite animal, the okapi. Now, the okapi might look like it should be related to a zebra, blue, black, and white stripes on its legs, but it's actually more closely related to a giraffe. Like the giraffe, the okapi has quite a long tongue. In fact, it is the only animal on the entire safari that can lick its own ear. In fact, it can actually lick the inside of its own ear. Now, if you plan on taking photos during the safari today, I recommend putting your phone into sport or live mode, because unfortunately, no matter how much I wish I could, I cannot stop for every single animal. Now, you do see an animal that you want me to stop for, put your hand up, I'll put my hand up, and then we will wave goodbye to that animal together. Because like I say here on the safaris, we are all in this together. Quite literally, we are all in this truck together. Now, up here on our left, we're actually going to see a black rhino. We'll see if I might be able to get a better view as we continue moving here. Let's see here as we continue moving. Now, black rhinos weigh about 3,000 pounds. They have a pointed upper lip and a horn that's made of keratin. That pointed upper lip comes from grab vegetation off of trees and hanging leaves here in the forest. Now, the black rhino weighs about 3,000 pounds, like I said. Actually makes it the smallest rhino that we have here on the reserve. Now, over on our right, we can see a saddle-billed stork. Saddle-billed stork gets its name due to that yellow saddle shape on its bill. It also stands about 5 feet tall when its legs are fully extended. Now, we are going to keep our eyes peeled for some antelope. They do like to blend in with their backgrounds. We're looking for a lighter one without horns and a darker one with horns. Now, that darker one is going to be a bongo. Those lighter ones are going to be greater kudu. Looks like I can see some greater kudu down here, but let's see if we might be able to find a bongo up here. There is a bongo lying down up here. Bongos, both the male and female, have those horns. Those horns help them move through the forest without getting stuck on anything in leaves or shrubbery. Also, the largest antelope that we have here in the Little Literary Forest. I'm going to need even those kiddos to be sat on laps. I need everyone to be sat. Even those kiddos need to be sat down. Now we can also see some greater kudu. The way to tell greater kudu apart is that the males have horns, females do not. Those are female. They also have faint white stripes on their backs. Those white stripes actually help them hide from predators in the hanging brush of the forest. So they go up the hanging brush, the sun reflects off of them and confuses their predators. Now it looks like that is it for the Little Literary Forest, but no worries, we have plenty more safari ahead of us. In fact, we are heading on into the Safi River. Now the Safi River is home to quite a few water animals. Some of these water animals do like to hide, so hopefully we'll see quite a few cool ones here for you today. They do kind of like this cooler weather that we've been having, so let's see if we might get a little lucky, see what we might be able to find. Looks like we are going to see some pink-backed pelicans. Pink-backed pelicans get their name due to, during mating season, their feathers thin out using their natural color, which is pink. Those have a wingspan of about 9 feet, which if you look above us is the same width as the top of this truck. Now we can see these blackbirds down here. Those are Florida vultures. They traveled quite a ways to meet us here in Africa. Let's use that Florida-Africa highway I've heard so much about. Now we are going to keep our eyes over to our left down here, so we might be able to find some Nile hippopotamus. Now, these hippos, we don't see any down here, there's no worries, I recommend heading on down to Gorilla Falls. Walking through there, they have a little hippo viewing area where you can actually see some of these hippos from underwater. Definitely recommend checking that out if we don't see any down here. Looks like we're actually going to see one on land up here, over on our left. Woo, and one coming out of the water. Now, hippos do spend a good majority of their day in the water, though they can swim. They actually prefer to walk or run in the water. I do need everyone to be sat down. I need everyone. Now we are going to keep our eyes over to our left and see some Nile crocodile. Now we sometimes see Nile crocodiles with their mouths wide open. The reason that they do that is because that's one of the ways they have of cooling themselves off. They cool themselves off about 15 degrees Fahrenheit by having their mouths wide open. Those would grow to be about 18 to 20 feet in length, and they have jaws that are strong enough to crush a bone. Now, though their jaws aren't strong enough to crush bones, they're actually widely known as one of the best parents here in Animal Kingdom. They will roll their eggs around in their mouths and even poke a hole in that egg. That helps those eggs to hatch. But those are only two of the things that they do that makes them the best parents here in Animal Kingdom. Now, here on the safari, here on the reserve, we are no stranger to beautiful trees. Look at all this gorgeous nature all around us. But this tree that I'm about to point out actually holds a special place in my heart. You're probably willing yours too, mostly because it's actually going to be the only tree I'm going to point out here for you today. So you see it right up here, it is the baobab tree. Now the baobab tree is known by its nickname, the upside down tree, because its branches look like roots. It's also leafless about 9 months of the year. You can actually see some holes in it. So those holes come from animals coming up taking bites out of that tree. And they take bites out of that tree because that tree contains a good amount of water, so it's how some of those animals stay hydrated in those hot summer months. It actually gets the nickname the Tree of Life due to the amount of water that it has. You might actually recognize it as the Tree of Life down there in the middle of Animal Kingdom. It's actually based off of a baobab tree. Now we are heading on into the West Savannah. Now on this overlook we might be able to see quite a few fan favorite animals. Let's see. Looks like we can see some Herman's mountain zebras right down here at the bottom of this hill. Let's see what all we might be able to see. Now I can tell that these are Hartman's mountain zebras because their stomachs are a solid white color exposed to being striped all the way down. And they actually have their own stripe pattern. Within 5 minutes of being born, these zebras can actually imprint on their mothers, memorize that stripe pattern, so they'll never feed from a zebra, just their mothers. Now a group of zebras is known as a dazzle. So we saw down there was a small dazzle of zebras. Now you can tell that those guys are black with white stripes. You can tell because their noses and hooves are black. That's how you can tell if they're black with white stripes or white with black stripes. Now let's see what else we can find. It doesn't look like there's too much hanging out here towards the beginning of the West Savannah. That's totally all right. Doesn't look like there's too much. It does look like maybe next to this hill over here we might see some African painted dogs, but we'll see. Continue moving here. See them laying down just a little bit. Now they get their names due to the backs of their coats look like they've been painted. They're also the most successful hunters here on the reserve with about an 88% catch rate, which is, yes, better than a lion's 20% catch rate. Now we are going to keep our eyes over to our left to see some more animals. We can see some sable antelope and some wildebeest. Now sable antelope are the face of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, which is where we are here today. Both the male and female have those horns. The way it's held part is that the males are dark blackish color, females are a lighter brown color. Now we can also see some wildebeest. Wildebeest travel in a pack of about 1.5 million. Now they stay in that pack for about 500 to 1,000 miles. Actually makes them the largest herding animals. In fact, their herds can be seen from space. The dust that they kick up can be seen from the International Space Station. A group of wildebeest is known as a confusion. And when they sleep, they'll actually all sleep in rows, all facing the same direction. So if they suddenly wake up in the middle of the night and start running, they're all running in the same direction. Now let's see what else we can find down here in the West Savannah. Doesn't look like there's too much hanging out around here. More wildebeest. Looks like there might be some eland up at the top of that hill over on our left. And some foaling cattle as well, but it looks like we might get a better view as we do continue moving. So I'm not too worried about it. Over on our right, some of that tall grass down there, we can actually see a springbok laying down. Springbok can spring about 6 feet in the air in a standing position, and about 13 feet in front of them in the exact same standing position. It's actually called pronking. Now some African sports teams actually use the springbok as their mascot because of just how athletic they are. Looks like we are going to see some Maasai giraffe up ahead of us. But before that, over on our right, we are going to see some eland. Now both the male and female eland have those horns you might be able to see. Those horns are actually how we tell them apart. The male's horns are slightly bigger, have slightly less spirals than the females. And they'll actually dig those horns into the ground, dig up dirt and flowers, make it look to be a flower crown. They actually do that to impress the other eland. Now Maasai giraffes stand about 18 to 20 feet tall. Their tongues actually match that height, so they're 18 feet tall, their tongues be about 18 inches long. Their tongues are also a purple color. Now the reason that they are this color is because they spend so much of their day out in the sun eating, they don't want their tongues to get sunburned. Now, Maasai giraffes actually have their each individual spot pattern, so notes will have the exact same spot in the exact same place. Or as I like to say, no two will have the exact same spot in the exact same spot. Now, a group of Maasai giraffe is known as a tower, so we see down here is a tall tower. It does look like we're heading a little bit deeper into the west of here, heading on into elephant territory. Hopefully we'll see an elephant. They do like to hide. If we don't see any down here, looks like there is. But if we don't get a really good view, there's an elephant here up ahead of us. I can tell that these are African elephants. You might be wondering how can you tell if these are African elephants or not. I can tell that these are African elephants because we are in Africa. Not just kidding, you can actually tell because their ears are in the shape of Africa. Now, these elephants, we sometimes see them flapping their ears back and forth. The reason that they do that is because they have blood vessels right behind their ears, and they flap their ears and actually pulls them off about 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, these elephants are actually not fans of the sounds that bees make, so if they hear that sound, they'll actually tend to stay away from that particular area. Very helpful to African farmers who built a thing called a hive fence, where they put beehives on the corners of their fence to keep the elephants from trampling their crops. Now, this is very helpful to the farmers and the bees alike. The bees, because then they have a safe place to live, and the farmers, because then they can actually turn around and sell that honey that those bees made. This is called the Elephants and Bees Project. Now, when we reach the safari, so further up ahead of us, we're actually going to see one of these beehives. I'll point out for you so you don't miss it. Just keep in mind the Elephants and Bees Project, because that's what I'll use to kind of jog your memory about what we're talking about when we do reach the end of this safari today. Now, until that point, it does look like we are about to be surrounded by some red clay. That's alright, we're going to see some clay pits up ahead of us on our right. Now we're going to see some familiar looking tusk marks in these clay pits. That comes from elephants coming up, digging their tusks in there, take bites out of this clay. And they take bites because this clay contains very vital vitamins and minerals for these elephants down here on our right. We're going to keep our eyes over to our left. Looks like we can see some more of these African elephants up here. Now, we sometimes see these elephants throwing dirt or sand up in the air to land on their backs. The reason that they do that is because they have very sensitive backs. So that dirt and sand is actually being used as a natural protectant and a natural sun block. Considering just how much time they spend on the sun, they don't want to get sunburned. Now, these elephants actually have more muscles in their trunks than human beings have in their entire bodies. That number being just over 100,000 muscles in their trunks. They can also hold about 5 gallons of water in their trunks at a time. They won't actually drink this water using their trunks, but they'll spray that water into their mouths. They'll also spray it up into the air onto their backs. That's another way that they can cool themselves off. Alright, alright, we can see another Maasai giraffe. We can also see some Ankole cattle. Now, those horns that they have might look pretty heavy, but they actually have a honeycomb fountain-like structure on the inside. Helps the blood flow, can actually cool them off about 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Those horns can also grow to be about 6 to 8 feet from tip to tip. Now, the Ankole cattle are also known by the nickname the Watusi cattle, due to the tribe that actually first domesticated them, the Watusi tribe. In fact, they are one of very few cattle that is indeed domesticated. The reason that they got domesticated was because they were actually using from a bluff of the Watusi tribe, so for them, whoever had the most Ankole cattle was actually the wealthiest. Now, over on the left, we're going to see some greater flamingos. These flamingos are born a gray color, not to get that brilliant pink that we all know and loves, actually due to the keratin that is in the shrimp that they eat. Now, it takes about 2 years for that color to develop, so the darker ones are the older ones, the grayer ones are the younger ones. Now, a group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. So what we're looking at down here is a flamboyance of flamingos.
Flamboyant.
Now, it does look like we're heading out of the West Savannah here, heading on into East Savannah. So all that from the overlook to here was the West Savannah. This is the East Savannah. Now, if we all look over to our left, we can see what I know. We've all been waiting to see. Don't you worry. There's a mud pit down there in the middle. No, just kidding. There's some white rhinos. White rhinos get their name due to a mistranslation of that is For the Afrikaan word vite, which means wide when reference to their lip, they have a wide lip, helps with gravitation off of the ground. They also weigh about 5,000 pounds, so actually makes them the largest rhinos that we have here on the reserve. Now, I was not kidding about that mud pit. That mud pit is very important, especially on hot days, especially during the summer. Animals will actually come up to this mud pit, roll around, helps to cool them off. We're all about keeping animals cool here on the reserve. At first, I'm not quite sure. I thought they were all pretty cool when they got here. Now, you might be able to see there's white rhinos' ears twitching or going around in circles a bit. The reason that they do that is because they have impeccable hearing, and that hearing actually kind of makes up for their lack of eyesight. They're incredibly nearsighted. They barely even see the tip of that horn that is directly in front of their eyes. Now, I'm not seeing anything too exciting coming out around here. Doesn't look like there's too much hanging out around here. Coming up here in front of us, we're going to see a formation box. This formation box is called a copy. Hopefully we'll see quite a few cool animals to move around this copy today. You might even see some more of those white rhinos that we were just looking at just a little bit ago. Looks like over on our left we can see a lion. Let's see if we might get a better view as we continue moving here. An easy way to tell male and female lions apart is that the males have made the females do not have the male. Another easy way to tell them apart is that the males do the jobs so the females do all the hunting. Now they tend to stay in their pack that we call a pride, which is where we get the pride rock from. And the roars can be heard from about 8 to 10 miles away. You'll see sunrise and sunsets. If you're at Animal Kingdom during sunset, you might just hear them, or if it was completely silent all the way from here to Magic Kingdom, you'd actually be able to hear these lions roar in Magic Kingdom. Unfortunately, you'll never be that quiet, so you'll barely be able to hear them in the parking lot of Animal Kingdom. Now, a lion's roar is kind of like a human being's yawn. As soon as one of them starts roaring, they will continue to roar. So you can see some more white rhinos up ahead of us. And an ostrich. Ostriches are one of my personal favorite animals. They're the fastest bipedal land animal. That means they're fastest on 2 legs. Those legs are also their greatest defense, so if they ever had to defend themselves, they'll actually use those legs. When ostriches get scared, they'll actually sit down on the ground, put their head on the ground next to them. It's not the illusion. They've actually dug their heads to the ground. Where we get that misconception, they don't actually dig their heads into the ground. And over on our right, on the ground, we're going to see some ostrich eggs. Ostrich eggs are quite sturdy. In fact, a grown man can stand on them and they will not break. They're also quite hefty. One ostrich egg weighs about the equivalent of 2 dozen chicken eggs, which is a lot when you consider that a flock of ostriches only has about 40 to 72 eggs at a time. I believe the largest recorded nest of these eggs at one time was 72. That looks like we are heading on into the Magadi Glen. I see our warden post coming up. I like to check to make sure the warden is here, especially kind of here towards the middle of the day. Doesn't really look like our warden is here, but I can see some Nigerian dwarf goats. Now, Nigerian dwarf goats are one of a farmer's favorites because they take up a little less space and need a little less food than regular livestock that a farmer may have. They can also be kept as pets and milked. In fact, their milk is actually healthier than regular cow's milk. If you look at that yellow-looking structure right down there in the middle, that's actually one of those beehives that I was telling you about from the Elephants and Bees project. So that's what farmers would put on the front of the fence to keep the elephants from trampling their crops. Now this does unfortunately mark the end of our safari. If you did not see an animal that you really wanted to see, I can always recommend going on the safaris again. No two are the exact same, unless you go to Mine Spice, then it will be exactly the same. Safaris do close at 5:15. Yeah, we'll have a little bit more time now if I could move in on another safari. Still want to see some live animals, but you don't want to for another safari, don't you worry. I have 3 recommendations for you. There's the Maharaj Jungle Trek and Gorilla Falls. Go will follow straight towards the exit of the safaris, has a few of the same and a few different animals. And the Maharaja Dormitory, which over in Asia has completely different animals. Both these do close at 4:45. Both these are walkthroughs. Takes about a half an hour to walk through both of them, about 15 minutes for one of them. These are both stroller and wheelchair accessible as well, so you can take those strollers and wheelchairs right on through with you. If there are any wilderness explorers on my safari today, there should be someone towards the exit of the safaris or the entrance of the park that can help you out getting that badge. You've been on Symbol 1. Symbol 1. That is SIMBA 1. Just like the lion from my personal favorite movie, The Princess and the Frog. Now it looks like there's a little bit of a backup heading up here towards unload. We'll head to whichever side opens on first. Might head on up to that second unload area down there. But no worries, you're gonna be stuck with me for just a little bit longer. But I haven't heard any complaints to my face. Now, if you were on the safari today and you were thinking, I wish there was a way I could help some of these animals, there is. I was recommending using the 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. By reducing the amount of plastic they use, I recommend using a metal straw. By reusing some of those grocery bags that you get, that is another massive amount of plastic.
Diga Dios ahí, ¿le gustaron los animales, mi amor?
Those can be very helpful to the animals that we
Sí, pero tengo sueño. Diga Dios aquí. Sara.
Now here on the safaris, we don't say goodbye, because goodbye is just far too sad and far too final. So instead of getting sad, saying goodbye here on the safaris, we have a different word. And that word is Kwaherini.
Bueno, adiós.
Kwaherini means go well, so I'll say go well and go wild.